Hey guys, musicninjamat here, and today I'm going to be talking about 3 new Marvel titles that I've been picking up. Obviously there will be spoilers for all the books in this video. First up we've got Death of the Inhumans. This is a book I was really unsure about picking up, but I thought I'll pick up the first issue, I'll give it a go, and I actually quite enjoyed it. So we'll start with issue 1, of course. For each of these series, I've got the first 2 issues, so I can talk about it a bit better. So this is written by Donny Cates, with Ariel Olivetti on art, and Geordie Blair on colours. We get a look at some Inhuman history, the fact that they were made by the Kree, and we see that they sort of split into these 5 different tribes. And we see that the Inhumans have been left a message by the Kree, which is join or die, and that Inhumans are being slaughtered left, right and centre. One of the reasons I think this book had so much impact on me was Black Bolt, and seeing the struggle and the heartbreak that he's going through every time they come across more dead Inhumans. We end up seeing the queens of 4 of the tribes have all been killed, and the fact was that they actually all surrendered to the Kree and were killed to get Black Bolt's attention. One of the queens was actually a bomb as well, so that blew up. Lockjaw managed to get most of our characters to safety, however Triton didn't make it. The main villain is like this Kree soldier called Vox, who's just incredibly powerful, more powerful than any Inhuman, and he is actually able to also kill Lockjaw and Maximus, because Lockjaw went to pick Maximus up and save him, and they both ended up dying. And that's kind of how issue 1 ends, and straight away I was like, they meant it. It is Death of the Inhumans, like they're really not holding back, and that's what drew me into the book. In issue 2, Karnak goes to talk to the Kree, and it's one of those, he's going to talk about surrendering, but you know he's not really. And this whole scene is just great. The dialogue is so good, because the Kree are talking about how, you know, they were sent off on starships, and some of them have never even seen their homeworld, because by the time they got back it was destroyed. And Karnak goes, oh, I can't imagine how that feels to return home to find it destroyed, because Arctillon has been destroyed. Some of my favourite sort of dialogue moments are points where Vox is fighting Karnak and he says, oh yes, of course, you're Karnak, you're the one that sees the fault in everything. And he's able to sort of outmaneuver Karnak, and he says, does Arctillon not have mirrors? I thought that was just really good. But then Karnak is saying as well how the king has prepared a statement, and of course you know if Black Bolt turns up and is about to start speaking, then it's about to just kick off. Black Bolt turns up and just starts saying the names of everybody who died, and he's using that to just take out the Kree. Black Bolt finally arrives where Karnak is, and again Vox is able to outmaneuver them, and he actually stabs Black Bolt in the neck, and that's how this issue ends. I just think it's actually a really solid story, and it's exciting, and it's full of twists, and yeah, I'm just really digging it at the moment. Next up we've got the new Amazing Spider-Man series that I was so excited for after reading the Free Comic Book Day preview of this. We've got Nick Spencer writing it, and Ryan Otley on art. We see Peter is still struggling along. He's currently living with Boomerang, but he needs to be living with Boomerang to find out what Boomerang has stolen that has piqued the interest of the Kingpin. He talks about stuff he's dealing with, and it cuts to this giant battle where the Avengers are all fighting away against these creatures, and Spider-Man turns up and no one seems that happy to see him, so then we do a bit of a flashback to find out why that is. Fisk offers Spider-Man like the key to the city, and Spider-Man turns it down, and it's one of those things where you're going, well, why is Kingpin being so supportive? But we see he's also slowly scheming a way to bring Spider-Man down. Things start going bad for Peter when he's at Empire State University, and it turns out that one of his papers gets scanned by this new technology that can basically find people that have cheated. And they go, well, this was actually written by Otto Octavius. And of course it was. this paper was actually written during the Superior Spider-Man run. This means that Peter kind of loses the respect of his peers. He ends up actually losing his degree. He is then fired as well from his job because he's been discredited. And we get this great moment where Peter doesn't really know who to speak to. And he goes, I know the one person that can help me. And he's speaking to Mary Jane, and she's laughing her head off. And Peter's like, I thought you were going to support me. And she's like, don't you see how funny it is? Like, your whole life's gone to hell in a day. And we get this moment where we see Peter just replaying all the times he's hurt Mary Jane and how torn up he is about it all. We get a scene where Aunt May, of course, has found out about all of this, and Peter tries to hide it, and then Aunt May is just completely disappointed in him. It goes back to this huge fight, and we find out that actually the fight isn't real. It's all being conducted by Mysterio, and Spider-Man is able to stop him. So the book has kind of put Peter back to where he was before, really this struggling, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and at the very end of the book, him and MJ actually get back together to really kind of put him back to where he was, and it's such a feel-good moment after Peter's gone through all this crap. We then get a strange, ending onto the book where we see Mysterio in court with Beetle there defending him, and Beetle is saying well, my client is going to plead insanity and that's why he did these crimes. Mysterio then starts seeing everybody decaying, and this mysterious shady villain turns up. And then all of a sudden everything's back to normal. So you're kind of going, well, what happened? Was that in Mysterio's head? Was that real? We then see Peter is actually being encouraged to just sort of re-sit at Empire State University and get his degree back. But then it's revealed that his teacher will be the Lizard, and then that's how this first issue ends. We then move on to issue 2. And these covers are really good, they're just really striking, and I quite like the designs and art style of everybody in this series. So in issue 2, Peter's there and he's just catching bad guys as he does, and I quite liked the dialogue originally in the preview, but again, they've done a Spider-Man where he's too quippy, where everything's a joke, and when the jokes don't land, it's just really awkward and cringy. We get more amazing moments of him and MJ just being together and enjoying each other's company. Then we start to cut back more into where issue 1 left off, where we see he's freaking out about the fact that the Lizard is there, and the Lizard is teaching a class, but it is because he's got this new inhibitor chip. So if the Lizard gets too violent, he'll just revert straight back into Kurt Connors. There ends up being a big fight where Taskmaster and Black Ant have turned up, and obviously Lizard tries to help and can't because his inhibitor chip stops him hurting anybody. Peter is thrown across the room, and we think that Peter has then got dressed into his Spider-Man gear and saved the day. However, Spider-Man saves the day and then is actually seen helping Peter up. And that's how it ends, with them as two separate people. This series is one where I like that it is back to basics, Spider-Man, but some of the writing is just a bit off and a bit all over the place and choppy, and I think it will be the kind of series I maybe read for the first arc instead and then actually drop it. Finally, we have the Infinity Wars books. Obviously, we had Infinity Countdown, which was leading up to this, so we've got Infinity Wars Prime and then Infinity Wars 1. So this is written by Jerry Dugan with Mike Deodato Jr. on art. We get this weird opening of Loki is in this library where he's looking at different tomes and trying to find one where he becomes a king. And after speaking to the librarian there, the two of them decide that they're actually going to go to what is called the God Quarry to perhaps write a new tome. We then get a meeting between Doctor Strange and Adam Warlock, and we see that the Soul World inside the Soul Gem has actually started decaying, and there's like monsters in there, and they realise from this that something is very wrong. Warlock reveals that the only kind of reason he is there to meet Doctor Strange is because he wants the Time Stone for Kang, as Kang has offered his help, and obviously Strange is not best pleased with this news. Warlock then just points out that if he doesn't take it, somebody else will come for the stone, and we see Strange realises he means Thanos. We see Thanos talking to his Chitauri army and sort of rallying them, getting them riled up, and then he is suddenly killed by this new villain. And you're like, well, this is crazy. It looks like we were building something, and then it's taken a complete turn. And the army is looking at this new villain and going, well, you've killed our master, we're yours now. And then the new villain just kills the entire army as well. The Prime issue was a pretty good opener. It's very essential to read. In the back, we then see all the titles that you have to pick up for this series, and there are so many, and it's so ridiculous. This is the new villain, by the way, and it is revealed that the new villain's name is actually Requiem. So then in issue 1, we see Star-Lord meeting with Gamora, and he's saying, Gamora, come with us. These stones need to be protected, not used. Gamora, as we have seen recently, has just been desperate to get the part of her that is inside the Soul Gem. And we get a bit of dialogue that just suggests that the Guardians of the Galaxy are just completely over now. I must say as well, I really don't like the page layout in this series. It's just weirdly like cut up like this a lot, with weird overlapping images, and it just happens throughout, and I really don't think it looks nice. We see there's going to be a meeting with the new Infinity Watch, and basically Doctor Strange put a message out through the stones to say, look, if you hold an Infinity Stone, we all need to meet because they need to be protected. And it's cool seeing everybody turn up, because like Turk turns up with a bunch of villains because he wants the backup. And then Iron Lad turns up with Adam Warlock, but Iron Lad is just a young Kang. Their meeting then is them discussing, how do we protect the stones? We need to go off Earth, what are we gonna do? And they're very worried that actually Thanos is coming. Strange even points out, well, maybe we should let him come. We have all 6 stones, we could probably beat him. But then they find out that actually he's dead. We cut to Loki, who has made it to the God Quarry, and it's so strange because he meets another version of himself, but this version of himself is actually like a full-on good guy, and he has all the Infinity Stones, he's holding Mjolnir, and he says he's from the original universe. The Infinity Watch meeting naturally all goes to hell, as Turk is like, I've just realised the stone that Quill has is a fake. And Peter's like, well, no it isn't, look. And he realises the stone isn't there, his hand goes straight through it, and it's been stolen. And then everyone just loses their minds, because they're like, it's a setup, it's a setup. They all start fighting, and then Requiem turns up. Requiem is then revealed to be Gamora, and Gamora has the Power Stone wielded in her sword. She then actually kills Star-Lord. And this to me was actually a pretty great reveal. Like, I didn't see this coming. It wasn't obvious. It probably should have been, because Gamora storms off, but I thought Requiem was just going to be this new weird villain that had shown up. So the fact that actually Gamora's just like, do you know what, screw this, I'm going into business for myself, I quite like that. But yeah, those are 3 new titles that I picked up, the first 2 issues from each. Let me know what you think about these titles. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, as it really helps the channel out. Check out the social media links in the description below. Don't forget to explore the channel, and especially the playlists, and I will see all of you in the next one.